Okay, people, this is going to be a quick tour of 2019 Freightliner Cascadia. So we got the front seat. We have, that's your standard dash. Right now, you got, this thing will tell you the trip miles per gallon you're getting currently. It's off by about half a mile per gallon lower. Temperature outside, how many volts your battery has, and mileage of the vehicle. All your standard gauges and everything. And you can scroll through these. That's the standard trip. When you reset this one, it resets all of them. This is just the leg tripometer, which you can do like every trip, reset that. I do that one when I get a trip, and I do that one when I do a fill up. This will show you how fast you're going, of course, digitally instead of through your actual speedometer. This will tell you how close you are to the vehicle in front of you, how many seconds space there is between y'all two. Got your standard clock, what gear you're in. Down there on the right, you'll see the park and brake symbol. That's your Jake brake. When that's on, that'll light up. This will tell you your oil temperature, your front and rear axle temperatures. The front usually will run warmer than the rear once you're driving around. Down one, your soot level, particulate filter. It'll tell you when you need to do a regen. That will tell you whether or not your inner axle button here is engaged or not engaged. And you can mistakenly drive with it on. It's not going to kill the vehicle. I recommend you do not do that. It tells you how many hours the engines have been running, and when there's codes, that's mainly for mechanics and stuff. Alerts, it'll light up, it'll tell you what the code is. You can look it up if you're driving for yourself. The radio, I don't mess with that. I plug in it'll tell you whether or not you have something plugged into the auxiliary cable or the USB port, or if you're just running the radio. And you can set the alarm clock and your lighting, dash brightness, etc., and how long these things stay on, so, etc. I have a seat that has extra buttons here. That's a lumbar massager right there. One squeezes one of these, the one next to the red here, squeezes the buttocks side of your seat. The one on the back squeezes your back in a little bit, and the rest is for lumbar supports, and that's your air button. And what else we got here? Your standard Qualcomm air controls. I got a lot of junk in here, so that's less than most people have, and I try and keep my dash clean. You got glove boxes there and there. There is no storage underneath your seats, so you do have 3 cup holders. There's a trash can hook right there. There's pockets. There's your pocket right there. There's a tiny change pocket right there. You have pockets in the doors. Your dash controls have your cruise and your various other knobs to scroll through the menu. You got 2 pockets here in the middle. It's changed a little bit from the 2015 I know that I had. Another glove box. You have a huge up above your head pocket, and then you have 2 more storage pockets up above the driver and passenger side heads. Your lighting, this is the ambient lighting. There's another one that'll light up that's called Bunk lighting. You have your dome light, which is right there. which is one of the brightest. The ambient lighting, if you hold the button down, it will, let me show you here, it can dim it lower and higher, and hold it down, it'll start to get dimmer and dimmer, and then it'll eventually just shut off. But when you turn it back on, unfortunately, the brightness will be as bright as it is when it normally comes on. Not I use the upper bunk for storage. The lower bunk, it comes with a memory foam mattress. Mine came with it all rolled up because it was still brand new. You might be unlucky and have one that somebody left trashed. We got another pocket here. They're actually pretty sizable. That's my air fryer, my coffee maker. And on the other side, passenger side, you have the same size. And coffee and bread, and I keep all my other food goods in there. This is a microwave cubby. I don't remember what size you can fit in there, but you do have an outlet and a lighter outlet and two regular plug outlets. These will not work unless the the inverter is turned on. We got your fridge with a little bit of storage on the top of it. The fridge actually has the pull-out storage unit that used to be on this side is now just a table, and the fridge has a tiny freezer inside of it and a little bit of space. Not a whole lot you can put in there. And the fridge, you actually have to push this door hard, because if you don't, and you don't hear it click, when you're driving down the road, it's going to open up and all your junk's going to go everywhere. There's one more storage cubby down here. I use that for water and stuff. The thing you got to remember about this is there's a vent, a tube in here that runs your heat and your air through the whole cabin in the back. And if you have water in there, it will get warm if you have the heat on in the wintertime. Your rear lighting and stuff can also be controlled here. That's the ambient light, the one I showed you. You got a footwell light. This is a red light that lights up right down where your feet are when you are sitting on the bunk. The sleeper dome light only stays on for a short amount of time. I haven't figured out. I guess it may be long press. I don't know. I don't use it, so. And then you got your regular dome light. Same controls as in the front. Sleeper mute. This is for your radio, like if you're a team or something, and they're running the radio and you want it to shut up. Of course, you're not going to be able to mute the front. And of course, you got your cigarette lighter outlet for charging phones and stuff. Your controls for the air. There's a bypass button on the front where when that's pushed in and lit up, it controls it from the front. When it's not lit up, the person in the rear can control it. What you can do is if you have a darker truck, if you keep this on full blast on cold when you're driving down the road, you can it will keep this back area cooler. Not for long, but it will. Your inverter power. Now, I don't use all these. You can scroll through these. It has little things that will tell you more if you read the book. This tells you how many volts your battery currently has. Once this drops below a certain level, your APU will activate and aggravate everybody next to you. And you have to get used to sleeping with that thing on, because it'll kick on in the middle of the night. Every now and then it'll wake me up, but it's rare now. When I first had it, I used to hate people that had one next to me when I didn't have it. This is how you turned off. That will disable that, and the two plugs I showed you in the microwave hole, and the other two down here underneath the bed. You have a regular and two charging port outlets. So when you turn this off, it'll turn those off. You have to leave this on to actually have those working. This will activate. This is your APU. Now you you have bacon. No, wait, that's not bacon. This is the heat. So you have to crank it up. And mine's not coming on. Oh, okay. I got the key ignition on, so it's not going to activate. So, and this is your fan. So this will light up depending on, it's like the fan underneath the bunk, and it'll blow air out through some of these vents, that vent and that vent sometimes. So when you activate it, you turn it on. If you want just a fan, set that to just the fan switch, and there, and then turn the fan on. Now for air, you turn it that way. So the snowflake, put this on cold, and your APU in the rear will automatically come on. For heat, you turn it that way, and if the vehicle's been running, and then turn your heat on. If the vehicle has already been running and is warm, you will start to get heat. Sometimes it takes a few seconds for the heat to kick in, so you might have to wait a minute. But that's how your heater comes on. So it has to actually generate the temperature on the APU warm enough to where the heater will kick in. So, and as long as your ignition is on, this isn't going to run. If this is broken, it's not going to run. You have a little caution symbol there. If that's on, you probably have a bad fuse or some other thing. Mine right here had all zeros when I got it, but it still worked. I had to take it in. They replaced all this. I don't know where they got it from, but they bent it a little bit. It was under warranty. Of course, it wasn't my truck, so it didn't really matter. But here you have the standard side fan attached to your little vent window. If you take this out, it's not going to work because the plugs that run it are right there. But you can just take this fan out. I don't know why you would. And you have another vent on that side next to your exit hatch. You have a TV rack. Biggest I've heard you can fit is actually a 32-inch. But I don't know if I'd go larger than a 24. You have a little airport light there. Airplane light like they did have in the cockpit. Not the cockpit, but the seats. It's really bright. Actually, let me see. No, it just turns on and off. It won't dim. And then you have this snake light for, like, I guess reading books. You don't want to have all the other light on. It's super bright. That's about it. You got speakers there. More airplane lights. Airplane light speaker. Cover on both the windows, which are vent windows. You can actually turn the knob and get those. You have a ladder. So your bunk release is this. Pardon my fingers. That, if this bunk is up or if it's down and you want to put it up, you turn this and that'll release your bunk locks, and you can lift it up. And I'm using my hands to show you what you can't see. You can lift it up or down. Your ladder release is, I don't use this ladder. I've only done this once. The lock is, okay, so these red buttons, see if I can do this. I don't know if you can see it, but oh, you push in. No, that's not it. Wait a minute. I got a case of the duh right here because I don't use this thing. Okay, so that's how it's done. On the back side of this ladder here, there's a handle. You push this in and it releases it, and this ladder will come down, and these will, the little red knobs will actually make it to where you can unlock the ladder, because once it goes all the way down it locks, and you have to unlock it and raise it, and then you raise it back up and it locks right back into place. So that's a lot better than the junk they used to have. And that doesn't come with it. I just bought that whiteboard. And that's the netting back there that you're supposed to use to buckle yourself in. You're not allowed to ride in the top bunk when your mate is driving, but that's on you. So, and then these curtains, if you get a brand new one, these will be folded up. Mine were folded up. It was awesome. I had to set everything up. These curtains work really well. Oh, and when you're putting your side curtains up, These little boogers that go all the way across the front, you don't put them on the dash. You put them in front of the dash. And trust me, they will be super dark. So, and that way, I mean, if you have a camera on the front recording people, it'll actually work. CB holder, you just strap the CB down, tie the power wires in, plug the antenna in. I've heard the antenna isn't super good. And then you have an external, another CB plug. I have hooked my tablet bag to the side of my CB thing. It holds it really well. So, and that is about it for this truck. So, your switches, you got the footwell light here too, which will light up the lights. Okay, weirdo. Lane departure warning. This one has it where if you cross over the stripes, you will get a warning that you're crossing over the stripes. I'm not sure what the ATC spin is for. Override engine shutdown. If you're the older trucks, it will blink, and you have a thing inside the dashboard that will start blinking, and then you push this button and it'll override the engine shutdown. Sometimes it doesn't work. Dome light switch, light test. When you're doing your pre-trip, this and your post-trip, to check your bulbs, you push this button and it will flash all your lights. Like, it'll go through a sequential event of, it'll do like blinkers and then reverse light, and then along with your side marker lights that point towards the rear of the trailer for your utility lights. It will do high beam, low beam, blinker, high beam, low beam, and then the rest of the lights. And that way you can test your cab and your trailer. It will also flash the ABS light on the trailer, so you can see if that's working. So you have no excuse to say if you've done a proper pre-trip or post-trip, you have no excuse to tell a officer that you didn't know it wasn't working, because you did if you did your pre-trip. Kingpin release. This is a new one. My 15 did not have this. This one does. So after you unhook and put your legs down, you climb back up in here and you push this. Every once in a blue moon this doesn't work. Once in a blue moon. Your fifth wheel slide button. Now, to do the fifth wheel, the easiest way, the only way, lower your legs on your trailer. Press your trailer hold button and it'll light up. And you'll hear air. You got to hold this down because it won't stay down and it doesn't light up. So press that, hold that down, and there's another one you got to do. I don't remember which one it is. That's right. So you got to do your interlock, I believe. I don't remember, so don't quote me on that. But I know you got to do 3 of them. You do one, you do the other, and then you have to hold this down. Now, if you don't get it right the first time, this will shut off every time you get done. So you have to redo this every single time. It took me a while to figure that out, but I put mine on the first notch and left it. Not the first notch, the second notch, and I haven't had a weight problem since. Utility light, that's for lighting up your back of your truck so you can hook up to your trailer at night or unhook from your trailer at night and see the beautiful lights. It will shut off once you're going at speed. It's not like these older trucks where you see the guys driving down the road. They're too forgetful to remember to shut their lights off, and they blind you while they drive down the road and take a turn. HSA is, I believe, is the clutch. I'm not sure. There's a locking mechanism, because this is an automatic. There's a locking mechanism that will keep you from rolling backwards when you're on a hill. There's also a creep mode in this thing, so when you put it in drive or in reverse, when you're going into a dock, it will creep slowly towards the dock to make it easier to get in there. This thing does feel like when you get to a red light, it will lurch after you've come to a complete stop. When it decides what gear it wants to go into, I think is what it's doing. I don't remember. I don't pay much attention to it. It feels like somebody rams into your back end. That's one of the main annoying things about this truck. Can't think of nothing else. You got your standard in-cab lights. One of them, the backside comes on when you open the doors, and then that one is a push button. You can actually turn off the ones that come on when you open the doors. When I get my own truck, I'm gonna put red bulbs in there because I just don't like the thingamajiggy. Your best pass and your external camera. There is no internal camera in this rig. That's for external recording of events. You do have a mirror heater, which is that one. And then your left mirror, right mirror controls. I can't think of anything else that you might need to know. Now there is underneath. Well, let me do this then. So underneath, sorry if this is jittery, guys. Hang on. It's gonna be dark for a second. Oh, good Lord. Oh, my crap's falling down. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so you have a light that comes on when you open this. This is your Thermo King. This is what controls your air and a few other things, and that's the main box back there. That has extra fuses, not extra fuses, but that'll have fuses in it that will blow, and fuses will blow, and that sometimes is going to be where they're going to be replaced at. They might be replaced in the back in the APU. And that is your inverter. You can get a better look of it when you open the driver's side hatch. There's a little button on it. Just the reset button. Got 2 outlets. If you got to plug something in out here, hit the test. It's like a standard outlet, and then reset. The test will it'll shut off all the outlets, and then you got to reset the thing. If it's not working, check your reset button, push in the test, and then push the reset. That about covers it, folks, as far as I know. Any questions? I might have forgot to put something in there. Just give me a holler. Hit that like and subscribe button.